The Banshee is one of the most familiar spirits from Celtic mythology, known as a foreteller of death by way of wailing, shrieking or keening. The Banshee's name is derived from the Old Irish for woman of the fairy mound. Her name is connected to the various mounds of earth dotted around the Irish countryside, supposedly to cover a grave or a number of graves, and were said to be home to spirits of the dead. She usually has the appearance of an old hag, but can transform herself to have the form of a beautiful young woman. She could also look like a simple washerwoman or laundress, only the clothes she tended to were blood-stained. Banshees could also appear as animals associated with witchcraft, like the weasel, stoat, hare or crow. The Banshee sometimes was seen in a white gown, brushing her hair with a comb. The comb can be used to lure people to ruin, so it was considered bad luck in Ireland to pick up a comb found lying on the ground. If a banshee is seen or thinks it has been seen, then it will vanish inside a cloud of smoke or mist, and the only evidence that it was ever there is the flapping of wings. According to legend, many of the ancient Irish families had their own banshees that would appear before a death and be seen weeping. It was also said that banshees were tied to families and would follow them if they emigrated to another country. In Irish mythology, the Banshees are descendants of the Tuatha De Danann, the ancient mystical race that once ruled Ireland and were the ancestors of the fairies. It has been said that the shriek of the Banshee was inspired by the screech of the nocturnal barn owl. It would certainly put the fear of death in an unsuspecting night traveller. In the Middle Ages, it was believed that if a person had lived a life of selfishness or decadence, or committed an act of cruelty during their lifetime, it was believed that their soul would remain close to the earth, suffering in penance. The Banshee would always be there to make certain this punishment was carried out. If a person lived a life filled with kindness and selflessness and good deeds, their soul would dwell in peace and happiness forevermore. Although still tied to the earth, the soul would be contented and watched over by the Banshee. During the Middle Ages, women known as keeners used to wail and sing laments at funerals. They were often paid in alcohol and seen as sinners, therefore doomed to become banshees when they died. The tradition of keening women survived to the 20th century, with the best keening women being well paid and wailing at the funerals of important people. Some banshees were seen as wicked and spiteful, as in life she had reasons to hate her family, and in death is a dreaded visitor by the members of the family against which she has hate or anger. She is seen as ugly and twisted, with distorted features and hate pouring from her face. The screaming howls of a hateful banshee are enough to make anyone's blood run cold. Rather than provide warning of the death of a family member, a hateful banshee is screaming in spiteful, hateful celebration as a member of the family meets his or her end. It may come as a warning, but a dire, frightening warning.